And I looked at the numbers. I was like, at the end of the day, the tax savings in year one alone are going to pay for a fair amount of this. I'm learning a ton throughout this process. It's going to teach my children a lot of values, hard work, get them outside. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. Welcome to this week's Modern Craftsman, where I'm going to spending our time today digging into some very exciting news for myself, my family, the business, and also I wanted to take a quick second before I got going to say thank you to everyone who responded to the email that Nick and I sent out, just looking for a little bit of response and feedback on the podcast. I know a lot of people took a lot of their time to respond, very thorough responses. And it's really, we appreciate your time. We appreciate all your support over the years. And it really just helps validate what we are doing and helps us shape this entire podcast, the coursework, everything that we're doing. It really helps us make that as great of an experience as possible for you guys and ensure that we aren't wasting your time. And we are not wasting our time. So thanks to everyone who reached out. I didn't respond to emails, but I did read all of the emails. So if you sent one, we appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you want to be on that newsletter, sign up for it on moderncraftsman.co. We have a bunch of great information, free resources that we're going to be dumping out here shortly as we recover from a really huge push and launch that we had the past 6 months or so. So time to get back to the grind and provide you guys with all of the information, content, resources that you have come to love. So the exciting news, I know you're still waiting. So this week's podcast and blog post, which if you want to read the blog post, always hop on the website, moderncraftsman.co. The blog posts, if there are accompanying blog posts, are on there. We are up to date with all of them. I know that a few of you had emailed us saying that the blog posts were not on the website. They should all be up at this point. So this is going to be short and sweet, but I couldn't wait to share this news with you. So I'm sure a lot of you know we are moving forward with the design on our personal home. We had some wetlands in the basically where we wanted to build a house. There were no approvals on the lot, so we had to go through the DEP to get those approvals. We got the waivers that we needed to make the lot buildable. So we have a house design in place that we're still tweaking, but the general layout is good for us. I'll be sharing the information on that. And then we have a shop going on the property. And then I actually, I enlisted the services of my really good friend, Tom, who I met through the podcast. Crazy enough, he was listening to the podcast a few years ago. He works for a local landscape company, but he's very passionate about landscape design. Super great friend of mine, met through the podcast, ride dirt bikes together. His Instagram, if you want to see some of his landscape inspiration work that he does, would be at the Timeless Gardener. Super talented guy. Love Tom. But we enlisted his services to help us lay things out. We were somewhat stuck with like house placement on the lot, situating it correctly with the barn, the driveway, just the overall massing, what the landscape layout will look like, how we'll retain some privacy. And he stepped in and helped us out, provided us with throughout this entire process, multiple plans. And we're getting to the point now where we're like really honing in on it. And he got us some layouts with, I'll share with everyone at some point as far as house, driveway, some material storage, if we have equipment to store, where that needs to go on the lot with regard to septic, well, everything. So we really exciting to have a visual understanding of what this is going to look like in the space. I have some very exciting news for all of you. The Contractor Coalition Summit is hosting a meetup at IBS and KIBS. So that's going to be Monday, February 24th, 2025. I know we're already into 2025. It's crazy. 6 to 8 p.m. It's at the Nomad at Park MGM Las Vegas. So this is not a summit. This is not a conference. Honestly, this is just going to be a bunch of people hanging out, open bar, food, and all the drinks that you can enjoy. And you'll have extra because I don't drink, so you can have my drinks. Early bird pricing is live. There will be no tickets at the door. So if you want to go to this, you have to buy them beforehand. I'm posting a link to it on this post. Hop on there now. You're not going to want to miss out on this. Again, no tickets at the door. February 24th, 6 to 8 p.m., Nomad, Las Vegas, which is at the Park MGM. I'll be there. Nick will be there. Brad will be there. Morgan will be there. And a lot of other people. So come check it out. Open bar, food, great hangs, great hanging out. It's really going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing all of you there. And let me know if you have any questions. So our home, there's a high water table where we are. And it was basically a lot of farms, and all of the grade for 150, 200 years was pitched towards the property that we bought there. It feeds it. They basically would use, when we got a lot more rain, our property to house the runoff. And then there's a bunch of little tributaries that lead into what's called Mason's Creek, and then gets rid of the water into a watershed. So there's a high water table just in that area. The creek, we're kind of at a low spot there. So we're not going to do a full basement. Based on just my experience in the industry, finishing basements, dealing with areas where there's a high water table, it's just not worth it to have a basement. And honestly, they usually just collect crap. I'm not a huge finished basement fan. I think it's a lot of risk, and you can be covering a lot of health issues. And I know that there's ways to do it right. And I finish basements all the time, but just for me, we're not going to have a finished basement. So it's going to be a conditioned crawl space. We'll have it insulated, sealed. We'll have the mechanicals down there, be able to run duct work, plumbing. Slab on grade could probably be a much more efficient home, but we're looking to build a pretty good home, and a conditioned, sealed crawl space is the way to go for us. We'll still have a little bit of storage down there. It'll be nice and clean, not dark, dingy, moldy. We'll have a dehumidifier down there that's pumped right into our sewer. Well, not sewer. We're on septic out there. So a lot going on, a lot moving forward. I've been over there clearing trees. The deal with where we are, and we're half of Medford's in Pinelands. They're concerned with preserving trees, but if you're building a house, you're allowed to remove more trees than normal. So we're removing a bunch of trees where the house is going to go, where the septic's going to go, where the driveway is going to go, and they're not really great trees. They are most of them are sweet gum, so they drop those sticky balls. So we're getting them out of there. We'll make some way to plant some new, nicer deciduous trees and some evergreen trees for some privacy. But I've been removing trees, and I'm like, I'm going to have to dig all these stumps out. And I started doing a little bit more homework, and I'm like, damn, with an excavator, you still have to dig these stumps out. You could just dig all the roots out and then push them over. And I was like, that would be way more convenient. I'm going to rent an excavator. And then I started looking into rental costs of an excavator, and I was like, I don't know how much time I have to just devote to it. It's like, rent it for a week. Yeah, I can get it done. But then I have to make sure I have a week worth of free time, and I'm going to be over on the weekends. It's going to stress me out. So then I started looking into used equipment, and then I was like, maybe I'll just pay somebody to do all this. And I was like, you know what? I want to do a lot of this myself. I want that experience for me. I want that experience for my family. I want to build sweat equity in this home. That's just a dream of mine. And I like to learn. I like to present myself with challenges. So I started looking into some used equipment, and the options was rental, long-term rental. It was buying something used and buying something new. And honestly, the last of them was probably that I was considering was probably buying new. And I reached out to a buddy of mine who owns Cherry Valley Tractor, where I've gotten all my Kubota stuff. And I was like, hey, this is kind of what I'm thinking. Do you have anything used coming in? And he was like, I actually have something used coming in this week. And it just wound up being a little bit small. It was a zero tail swing machine. I was like, it's tempting, but at the end of the day, I'm spending that money and I still think I'm going to be underpowered. So they had something new sitting on the lot. The financing was 0%. Didn't need any money down, and then I spoke with my accountant, and the tax break through Section 179 was 100% deduction in year one. And I'm like, okay, 0% financing, 100% deduction on the excavator. Year one, I'm building equity in the equipment. I'm building equity in the site, developing the site. And I'm like, all said and done, I started to working the numbers, and I'm like, this thing might only cost me, with the money saved on the site work, being able to dig septic, the house, it's a crawl space, so it's not moving a ton of dirt. Um, the pad for the shop, the driveway, like being able to do a lot of that myself. And the excavator that we got is like probably a little bit small for that stuff, but I'll still be able to use it for other things. I can still legally tow with it. And it's like, yeah, a bigger piece of equipment would be great, but the added cost, I won't be able to use it for business. I won't be able to transport it. This is still small enough to use on jobs, big enough to get a considerable amount of work done. And I looked at the numbers. I was like, at the end of the day, like, the tax savings in year one alone are going to pay for a fair amount of this. I'm building the equity in the equipment that I could always sell down the road. I'm not paying the tax on it. And then I'm also building equity in the site. I'm not having to pay a subcontractor to do it. I'm learning a ton throughout this process. It's going to teach my children a lot of values, hard work, get them outside. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. So I ended up buying a brand new mini excavator. So we're super pumped. This is like, obviously we bought the land, but this is the first thing where it's like, okay, this is real. We're starting to spend money now. I got to get moving. I got to get shovel in the ground. So the first thing is obviously just take care of some rough grading. There's some creeks in the back that I said that we need to clear out because 40 years of just trees falling in them and not being maintained. The water's not draining off as well as it should. A ton of deadfall within the 4 acres of forest back there that just needs to be cleaned up. New driveway needs to be cut in. There's so much stuff that needs to be done. Tree stumps, full trees that we're going to take out. So I have a lot of work ahead of me before we even finalize the site plan and grading plan and all of that stuff. So this equipment will be able to do that. So I took delivery of it yesterday. I share a chat GPT account with my wife, Rachel, and I came in after accepting delivery of it. And I'm looking on chat GPT. I was like, I didn't write this. And she's basically prompting chat to make jokes about me getting an excavator delivered to the house, but then I bitch up when she gets Amazon deliveries to the house. And I text her, I was like, Rach, just to let you know, you are on my chat GPT account writing these jokes on here that I'm seeing. So we had a good laugh there. But the excavator that I ended up getting, so I did a fair amount of research. I spoke to a bunch of people. I spoke to a bunch of people on Instagram, just kind of what the options are, what they have, how they've made out with it. So I ended up going with a Kubota KX040-04 Cherry Valley tractor. Cherry Valley tractor. Excuse me. Brian over there, whose family has owned that for a long time, made it super easy for me. Gave me a really good price on it. They're coming out with a new model, which is a 040-05. So it has some upgrades to it. It has a better cab, some more digital display. It has a different hydraulic system. So definitely some upgrades. But at the end of the day, this unit was sitting on the lot. It had a full cab, AC, heat, radio, angled blade, hydraulic thumb, 24-inch bucket, 12-inch bucket, rubber tracks. The only thing like I'd considered, which would have been they have a 6-in-1 blade, but there wouldn't have been one on the lot. I would have had to upgrade to the new machine. I would have had to wait for delivery of the new machine, and then the new machine is more expensive, plus the upgrade on that 6-way blade is more expensive. It would have been a lot more waiting. It probably would have been at least 15 or 20 grand more. And at the end of the day, I'm hoping I don't have buyer's remorse, but I couldn't justify it, especially being a very big purchase as is, and my first excavator. Hopefully my last excavator as well. No, who knows? So yeah, super pumped about it. It's a brand new excavator. At this point, I'm like, Rach, I don't even know if we need to build a house. This thing's so comfortable. It's got heat, AC, radio. Like, I'll just live in this. You girls can stay in the house. And she was fine with that, to be honest. But it's got I got it with a hydraulic thumb. It's got a quick coupler up front. Again, 24 12-inch buckets, full cab, because we have to be comfortable. Angled blade, rubber tracks. Super excited about this. Now I got to figure out how to actually use the thing. I was in it last night. I've only used one once before, and I remember it getting pretty easy. Not easy, but like I got progressively better relatively quickly. But like watching professionals use these, they make it look so easy, and then you get in and I'm like a fish out of water, and the thing's bucking all over the place and I can't do anything with it. So I'm excited to learn, to get better at using it, to have the kids over there and really just like be a part of this process. So at the end of the day, what I ended up doing was not what I anticipated doing. I spent a lot more money than I anticipated. But at the end of the day, it's like this Section 179 and this tax write-off, and then being able to save the money doing a lot of the site work myself, to have equity in the equipment, equity in the land. It just wound up being an investment in myself. And I instead of putting that in somebody else's pocket, it made more sense to me. And plus, who the heck doesn't want an excavator? So yeah, it's like, is this whole process going to be challenging? Absolutely. Is it going to be worth it? 100%. It's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a struggle emotionally, physically, financially, trying to swing all of this, but I'm down for it. I'm down to document it. I'm down for you all to follow along with this. I'm nervous as hell. I'm nervous to spend this amount of money right off the bat, but I know it's going to be worth it. I know that it's the smart way to do this for us. And I'm really excited to get going with it and show all of you what's in store. And this purchase really was the first step in making our dream a reality. And I hope that all of you follow along as we navigate the ups and downs of this build. It's going to be one heck of a journey, and it's starting. It is starting. So again, I appreciate everyone who emailed us back with response. We're going to be getting back to our regularly scheduled program, giving you guys a ton of really great conversations with contractors, architects, designers, just providing you with as much value, free content as we can, and really just continue to build this community and build the relationship. So thanks to everyone who reached out. We appreciate it so much. Hopefully I'll see some of you guys and girls at IBS. I'm going to go hop over and start making a mess of this property and start tearing down some trees. So wish me luck.